So this is an idea about having a drink that is not a sugary drink. That's like, and it's basically drinking soup broth. So the broth from soup, like chicken broth, beef broth, vegetable broth, that's not enough for me. I want to go and create different type of hashes of all the vegetables, hashes of a mix of vegetables, hashes of the spices with vegetables, and create these concentrates. Create these concentrates, and like if you take like a vegetable or something, you could create a concentrate, say from the cucumber skin, as well as the cucumber, as well as the cucumber inside. Just like an orange, you could create an orange from the orange peel and then the orange zest. You could have two different types of concentrates, two different types of broths, if you will. And basically, what I want to do is put together a concentrate that you drink like a tea. You drink like a tea or a cup or something, and it's a salty, kind of a salty drink. Or most vegetables don't even have salt in a lot of ways, so in a way, it doesn't have to even be salty. But maybe you could have some salts in there, and you could have some different types of sugars in there, and you can make your own blend of your own concentrate of your own broth. And yeah, like a little kit where you can have any, and you can select which vegetables you want. Because when you make normal vegetable soup, it's kind of a mush. It's kind of like the vegetables don't mix well together. But if you use a few vegetables here, or a few vegetables there, they have a certain taste to them. They have a certain taste to them, and it works well together. So this idea was about creating concentrates for broth that you drink. You can make soup out of them too. You could make soup out of them too, but this is ideally something that you drink, like a tea. And oh, the other idea that I skipped over for you guys was I was working on the video game where you can do anything. Anything can happen in the video game, and you can do everything and everything in the video game. And what I was doing is what I was saying. Say you had a character and you went through these events with the character. You did this to the character. You did that to the character. You did this to the character. You create this profile, this timeline of your interactions and dealing with this character, and this character can go through its own events as well. Like it creates its own timeline for its existence. And basically, what you do is you refer to central intelligence, is what I'm calling it now. Central intelligence, and you say, what would Jimmy think of if you did this, that, this, that, and after all that, this happened? What would he think of you then? And what would Jill think of you then? And what does Jill think of this happening to you? And what does Jimmy think of that going that way on you? And basically what you do is you create a profile for this character that is, when you since you can interact with these characters, that is on the fly, and then you ask the AI, what do you think of this character? What should this character behave like now? Exactly. You ask the AI, what should we feel in this character as now? How is Jimmy going to react to this character? How is Jill going to react to this character? How are they going to react differently? And by sending through central intelligence, creating a profile for your character, and then referring to central intelligence to see what that profile means, you can now rewrite and reenact and retell the stories. And you can get the computer to write a story saying, okay, what would Jimmy think of this character? Jimmy thinks that of this character. And then, since Jimmy thinks that of this character, Jimmy would do this. What does Jill think of that character? Jill doesn't like this about that. And as a story idea, what we're going to do is Jill's going to try to change something with the character to make it better now. Jill's going to try to make it better, that bad thing that happened that she doesn't like. And Jimmy's going to try to make it worse, because Jimmy's a dick. And then the other thing is, like, you can reference to your central intelligence, if you want to go to the diner, the central intelligence can go, what's a diner? And then they can go, what kind of items are in a diner? How should we use these items? What kind of storytelling capabilities do these items have? Maybe we'll have a knife in the diner. Maybe we'll have a frying pan in the diner hit somebody, right? When we put together our story. And anything that you create, the computer can always go, what's that? And then what do we do with that? And what's going to happen if we do this and that with that? And what do these people think if we do this? What are these people going to think? This person's going to think that. This person's going to think that. This person's going to think that. What happens if we use a different item in the diner? This person's going to think that. This person's going to think that. This person's going to think that. So now you can have like an objective of how you want your results to be. Anyway, let me see if I can figure out another way to use the central intelligence. Oh, when you're monitoring things, you can always basically if you have any questions, you can always ask central intelligence AI. What's this? What's that? How does this work? What do I do with that? What do people think of this? What do people think of that? You know what I mean? You can always relay everything to a central intelligence AI that gives you opinions, that sort of thinks for you, that gives you opinions and thinks for you. So that wasn't the best on central intelligence, but maybe I'll reference it more if it comes up more. But basically, you can create anything. Say you need to create an item in your world, you can say, what's this item? Say there's a culture that has a certain name for an item. You can say, what's this word? And then they central intelligence can look it up on the internet, and that word means this in this culture. So that's a bull or something like that, whatever it is, right? And central intelligence can put together all the other AIs. So each character can have their own AI, and central intelligence can, basically grow those AIs and refer to those AIs and have opinions about those AIs and have tools to deal with these AIs and have ideas of where they want to go with these AIs and stuff like that, and how they want them to grow and how they want them to be used in stories and stuff. Okay.